Ophelia, what do you think about goofy action-adventure comic book movies? And what do you think about racism? Well, I guess that solves it. We watched Monsters Ball and Catwoman.
Ah, the French champagne.
Champagne!
The schlocky movie from this week may be the schlockiest film we've ever seen on this podcast.
I'm Mr. Pink.
Sis Blue.
So Miranda hasn't seen Reservoir Dogs.
Those men's children are all identical clones of Adolf Hitler.
Once they were men, now they are land crabs.
Amanda Bynes is a national treasure.
There's like a bunch of other shit that happens in Driven.
Is there?
Secret Nazis.
Yeah.
Secret Nazis.
And Daddy lost his eagle.
I hope
So-
no one from my family listens to this podcast.
The Citizen Kane of the week is...
Hey
Just
everyone,
take
welcome
your
to the
time.
pod. That's sticking with that. Hey everyone, welcome back. We've had a little break, so we're feeling giddy about doing a movie version of this again. Finally getting to our Halle Berry week. Sean, are you okay?
Tornadoes
is it
hitting
suddenly a
outside.
thunderstorm?
It just it just like got hurricane windy out there. I don't know why.
Oh, I can't wait to bike
Yeah.
home. Yeah. So anyway, where it's a stormy night. It was a stormy night when all the children gathered around their Citizen Kane versus lunchboxes, and Citizen Kane versus bed sheets.
Yeah, and cereal boxes.
Yeah, cereal boxes are Citizen Kane versus. What would our cereal be?
Citizen
Grain versus
Sugary.
Ooh, Citizen Grain.
Yeah,
That's pretty
Sugar
good.
cane versus.
sugar cane versus.
And they're like little VSs that.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And like little Orson Welles' heads.
That's
marshmallows.
That's the winner.
Yeah.
They're little
Yeah.
little Wellsy
Oh, the
Welsh
French
mellows.
grain cereal. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. So hi, if you're not familiar with the pod and you listen to the first 90 seconds of that drivel we just did, my name is Jack Rennie, and I'm joined by my two friends, a one
Sean Jacqueline.
and the lesser.
Daniel Benoit.
That's right. Say your name.
I love that you always go to like launch into something new and then just go no.
Yeah, usually there's always that hope that as I go to launch into something really clever will come to mind and it'll just flow through me.
This is episode 87, I think. So
No, I've learned my
87
lesson. That's why I
times.
don't
Yeah.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to believe in yourself, man.
I've had 87 episodes to show me why I shouldn't.
All right, let's try again.
Okay.
I'm Jack Rennie, and joined by my two friends, the one
Daniel Benoit.
and the worst.
Sean.
Jesus, dude. Never mind. Don't believe in yourself. So, I should have said the Oscar and the Razzie. There it is.
There it is.
So, because we're doing Halle Berry week this week. So, yeah, how this works, fucking hell. How this works is that we take two movies, one of them considered to be more of a classic, and the other one more on the schlocky side. And they're linked by something, a theme, a word in the title, an actor, like this week.
Oh,
I know. What a novel idea. Because this week is Halle Berry week. Oscar versus the Razzie. First impressions, how was the viewing experience today?
Oh, great. I actually had a great time.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
This was like a good week of like a movie that feels like, it's Oscar bait, yada yada, versus a movie that just had so you can imagine during the production how hard this must have been to be a part of.
Yeah.
Kind of movies.
You know what, man? I'll say two things. One, I don't know that I'd ever used the word fun to describe my experience watching Monsters Ball. Two, I did get the impression that probably no one knew how bad this movie was going to be when on set. The script is pretty bad, but it was so manufactured in post.
Yeah.
I feel like it was probably a surprise to most of the cast.
I don't know if it was a surprise because they had to say those words, right?
Yeah, but there's a difference between knowing the writing is bad and thinking it's going to be that
Just
movie.
a bad movie.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I will say that Catwoman, I think, came through in that it is kind of so bad that it's good. Like, it does kind of venture into that territory.
Sure does.
but it's undeniably a bad movie. But I'm pretty, because also here's the thing, like the actors don't know what the camera's doing.
No.
You know what I mean? The actors
'Cause
don't know.
Oftentimes the camera isn't even like what we're seeing from the camera is so constructed is actually like not done by a camera at all. It's done by a computer software.
Well, this is what I'm
computer
saying.
program.
But even when like those shots where the camera is like flowing through the room
Yeah.
or like roaming through the room, I guess, the actors don't know what that looks like. They just know that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of saying actually more like actors aside. I was thinking of like
The production crew.
the production crew, people who made movies for years, who were like, this isn't enough to, like, you know, like they must have known what the limits were.
Yeah, well,
probably, and
that's
what-
the thing too, is that like it seems like they're really trying to count on and rely on CGI at a time where like CGI is not that advanced, right? Like,
No.
when did the prequels come out for Star Wars? We were past that.
99, 2001, and 2003,
Jesus.
and this is 2004.
What does that sound? Anyways, yeah. So I think I think that the crew probably got worried at times.
Yeah, and I feel like this movie was trying to be in the same, like it was in the same era as like the Joel Schumacher
Yeah.
Batman's, right?
It's
A few years after.
7 years after, but definitely in the vein.
But yeah,
of-
exactly. Trying to be
Yeah.
in that vein of
we hadn't
that's-
had Batman yet.
Exactly. So that's what superhero movies were still. They were these like kids commercials
Batman Begins.
turned
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, weird clicking thing. Anyway. But those movies even still were much more selective in like those movies also built big elaborate sets.
Mhm.
You know, to complement that.
Yeah.
And use the CGI for more like sweeping landscape stuff and the occasional you know, but anyway, so it's just I don't know exactly why they thought they could get away with this other than what must have been some sort of like negligence or like
I mean, they're
illusion.
making a superhero movie, so I think that they were expecting that kind of leniency that you get from shooting in like a cartoon, like you're shooting a live action cartoon, right?
I guess.
Well,
And I don't know what else Pitoff has done, but
yeah, we can get into that. But I mean, outside of that, it's looking it up. This was rushed into production when another like superhero film project fell through. From I guess it's Warner Brothers. Probably they own the rights to the DC stuff.
Think so.
So,
Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
So because they were trying to do a Catwoman spin-off since the 90s when Michelle Pfeiffer was Catwoman in Batman Returns.
A great Catwoman.
Great Catwoman, and they could just never agree on shooting that one. And then who was it? They went through like Nicole Kidman at one point which is weird because she's in Batman Forever.
yeah.
There was like
who
another
is
actor.
she in Batman Forever?
She's the woman.
Oh, okay. I can see her being a dope Catwoman too.
Sure.
Doctor something
Yeah.
Reed.
Well, yeah.
Doctor-
Oh, that
Val-
rings a bell. Yeah.
Kisses Val Kilmer a lot. And then Halle Berry was supposed to do a spin-off from 2002's Die Another Day. Her character from that Bond film, Jinx, was supposed to get a spin-off series,
What?
but that fell through.
Yeah.
So then Warner Brothers was like, make a Catwoman really fast?
I see.
Yeah.
And that turned out well.
So well.
In the comics or any other iteration of Catwoman, does she have that kind of superhuman agility, or is she just like a woman in a catsuit?
I can't
Because she's a
speak-
villain,
I can't-
right?
No, she's a vigilante with
Batman
well, like she doesn't have the same moral.
compass.
Yeah, she doesn't like just murder or do anything like outright evil, but
She's supposed to be like a cat,
yeah,
where it's like, oh,
she's
you're
a
just
cat burglar.
doing whatever you want.
Yeah,
Like that's what even at the end of this movie she says, like, this is real freedom.
Right.
I'm good. I'm bad when I want to be,
Right.
or whatever she says.
But does she have those like superhuman abilities?
I can't speak to the comics. I don't.
Or
Read
how about in
Catwoman.
the movie?
Yeah, I'm not a nerd.
I mean, Eartha Kitt mostly just went wow in the 60s. Who was the other? There were two 60s Catwomen. No. A short answer, no. Michelle Pfeiffer
Similar to this,
has,
honestly, in a
kind
lot
of a similar
ways.
story, but she's not superhuman leaping.
No.
in
She's
Batman
not
Returns.
leaping buildings.
No.
But kind of actually. Anyway, it was a weird movie. But I think the pairing was fun.
Yeah.
Like this felt like a fun pairing. I don't know how they'll stack up against one another, but
I don't know. There's some areas I'm a little torn on. If
there
I'm being
are some
honest.
areas to discuss.
Yeah. Okay.
So in case anyone is lost and wants to know more, let's transition to our thematic boxing intros to the movies.
In the red corner, representing the classics. After a corrections officer and his corrections officer's son electrocute Puff Daddy Combs, the corrections officer's son kills himself. Then P. Diddy's wife Halle Berry's son gets hit by a car and dies. And then somehow corrections officer dad Billy Bob Thornton's dad doesn't die somehow. Then the movie can kind of start. And it's about racist Billy Bob and racism Halle Berry falling in love, kinda, and people changing, and some tough stuff happens, but it's mostly kind of nice now. Like America. Coming in at 112 minutes, starring Halle Berry and Billy Bob Thornton, Monsters Ball. And in the blue corner, representing the schlock, when Halle Berry uncovers that her movie's plot is the same poison makeup plot from Michael Keaton's Batman, the company tries to kill her with a waterfall. Luckily for her, an ancient cat god revives her as Catwoman. With the powers of a split personality, cat-like reflexes, and the ability to become CGI at will, she must save a nondescript amount of people from Sharon Stone's stone-faced acting. Coming in at 104 minutes, starring Halle Berry and Benjamin Bratt, Catwoman.
And there you have it. Now you know 2 to 3 sentences more about each movie.
It's true.
You what?
No, the dog.
Well, Evie wants to be in the podcast.
All right,
it's
fine.
okay.
Bring it on, Evie.
So I feel like we should get into it.
Yeah.
I think it's time. So let's begin and jump into our first official round, which is story. Good? Fight.
I mean, I'm curious to hear everyone else's opinion on
Yeah.
these movies.
Story good.
Stories.
When you phrase it that way, in such simple, stark, deliberate terms, I don't know. It doesn't, because Catwoman is kooky,
Bad story.
bad writing, but
Bad
like
writing.
the story.
Story is just in line with any other
standard-
superhero thing that was coming out at that point.
like the base story makes sense.
Is
at
that
least.
Catwoman's origin story,
No.
though, that she dies and then a cat breathes
No.
superhuman strength into her?
No.
No, okay.
She's
It
just
usually
like a
involves with
cat
her-
burglar that's very athletic and goes
Right.
wow a lot.
Well,
Right.
but the fucking Michelle Pfeiffer one, she
Yeah,
dies.
she gets eaten by cats.
She dies. And same thing, she's brought back by cats. It's actually quite similar. So easy
Okay.
with your
All right.
F no.
Yeah.
And then what's
Bro.
this-
Cho.
F Cho? What are you saying?
You called me a cho.
Oh. What's a Cho?
Oh, well, let's move past it.
All right. So then what's the story in Monsters Ball? Monsters Ball
Yeah.
was a movie that started off fucking heavier than any movie has any business being. Like
yeah,
so
a cudgel.
I don't know what that
Is it a
word
cudgel? What?
A
cudgel?
cudgel is like a
Big stick.
big stick you hit people with.
Yeah, just completely unnecessary.
Which?
Like Heath Ledger
all
offing
the
himself
death.
and like
Oh.
It is everything. It just seems so like. I guess it's all kind of pivotal to the story, to like them meeting and having something to relate to. Hold on, I'm gonna put my dog away.
Okay.
I'll say this while Dan's doing that. The story for Monsters Ball does feel a bit like meandering.
Does it?
A little bit.
I think there's like, I think it's all a very clear like thoroughfare of hate beginning hate and like the fallout from that.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying I don't see that.
Okay.
And I'm not even saying this is a bad thing yet.
Right.
But there's a little bit of it being like, especially in the beginning, while it takes this time to set up by having P. Diddy executed and all this kind of stuff, that it's like, the movie feels a little bit like, and then this, and then this, and then this, like it interesting in a way that's kind of interesting. You can't tell where the engine of the movie is. It just feels, it's like it's supposed to have this like southern dryness, and like
everything's hot and
languid,
slow.
where like no one really fights for everything. Everyone's just like melting.
There's a number of scenes where it's just two people sitting staring forward going because it's so hot.
Yeah. And she's like, why'd you do that? And he's like, I don't know. I guess I something, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, it made me feel something.
But it's also like people who have never had an opportunity to express emotions because of the like conditions they've been brought up in. And what
except
they have
for
to go
anger
through.
and
Except for anger and hatred, and
Yeah.
suddenly, and not like he's so awkward because he's never felt love, and he's just like, how do I and he, like that scene where she's shit faced on the couch and wants him to feel good, but like I was watching him, and there's so much of like, what do I do here? Oh, which is why he asks, what do you want me to do about this?
Yeah. So I think it does tell its story in really interesting ways. I'm just saying, again, like I said, like meandering in a sort of an interesting way. I kind of liked that it wasn't like this. Some movies are really formulaic, and like, well, we need to have the moment where this happens, and like this movie doesn't quite have that thing where it's like, oh, this is the part where like stuff goes bad and they aren't together and they have to figure it out. Like, it doesn't quite do that.
No.
It's just things are always bad, so the movie's about figuring it out. And so it skips that. And does different stuff in ways that I liked.
But we might be talking about different parts of the movie, but I definitely felt the meandering element, but in the latter half of the film, I felt that as soon as the living room scene happened, where she's shit faced and wants to feel good, and like they make that connection, everything goes downhill because suddenly there's no real conflict except for having to deal with the racism of his dad.
It's like a 30-minute denouement a little bit.
Well, but this is the point of the story. If you were to map it out or give it a log line, it is man overcomes his racism through loss and finding connection with a black woman. Like that's the entire. That is the story.
I would say the actual climactic moment is at the end, and it's Halle Berry's, and it's when they're eating ice cream. And she has the urge to continue the pattern of like, you lied to me. Now I'm gonna get mad at you and leave you, and we're gonna hurt each other. And she very visibly makes the choice to just let it go because she's in a good place and he loves her and she's falling for him.
Let it go or something.
But is she in a good place though? Because like he willfully omitted that information, which means that he's already laying a foundation of deceit for the relationship, and she's very much dependent on him.
But I think that's kind of their agreement, as we see in the scene just a couple of moments before, where he's like, I want to take care of you, and she's like, that's good, I need taken care of.
Right, which is why I think I had a problem with how they kind of ended that scene, where it seems like she's realizing what a good place she's in, when in reality it is her accepting the fact that
I think it's more it's not like accepting that, oh, I'm in the best place. I think there's still a lot of like fear of going forward, but it is a choice of, I will just embrace this person I'm with and I'll make it work if I can, rather than choosing that moment to be like, I'm out of here, you lied to me.
It's almost like that, and the intention of that line, that when you make me feel good, she's choosing to feel good with this person. Kind of regardless.
And it's symbolized by him like only giving her oral and the sex beforehand, where he's very much just like giving to her, and then he goes and gets ice cream, right? He does a physical act of kindness, if you want to put that in, of like generosity in the moment, and then goes and buys her ice cream. So he is already acting as a caregiver and provider.
And like in terms that some people would consider submissive. Which is safe for some people. So regardless of if you love the story or not, it's like it'll give you some thinkers.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
there's a lot of
I like a lot of the dialogue and stuff. That is well crafted.
Yeah, it's well crafted. It's got a lot of those great moments of like you pepper something in early and then it pays off. There's a lot of that throughout. The only thing I don't know about is the white spoon. I know
The
white
plastic
is
spoon.
yeah, I know white is a recurring thing, but yeah, the plastic spoon, like, is that just because he's kind of like
Well, that was the thing, right? It wasn't even a color based thing,
Yeah.
or at least they didn't make that clear.
white is safety, I guess, to him. He paints the house white when his father's gone, and yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
Well, maybe.
I think there's something in there.
Yeah. But talk about formulas. Let's talk about Catwoman.
Yeah. Okay.
Formula.
So they took the formula. They heard about what a superhero movie could be.
Mhm.
This is at a time when like superhero movies were not as popular. They're still kind of like.
Spider-Man was the best one in the past decade.
And wait, sorry. So just actually.
Well, I guess Spider-Man had already happened. Eh?
Yeah.
No, wait. So, but really speaking of formulas, here's the part that we actually somehow haven't mentioned yet. So speaking of the Tim Burton Batman movies,
Right.
with the second one that had Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer, but the first one, the plot of that movie is the plot of this movie. It's about the Joker releasing a fatal makeup toxin.
Oh yeah,
It's literally the same premise.
that's right.
I was also unclear as to
Which is
why.
fucking weird.
I didn't know that. I don't.
There'd only been like 5 superhero movies at that point.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But so okay, so this first of all, she kills she being Sharon Stone
Yeah.
kills her husband,
Yeah.
claiming that no one's gonna get in the way of the release of what eventually became BO line
Mhm.
when they initially introduced it as
Boline.
Boline. But at what point did the husband say he wanted to?
She just hated him.
Halt, okay.
She just wanted him dead.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So then, the second, this gave her superpowers,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the thing that she wanted to release to the world
Very
instead
dumb.
of hoard for herself.
Yes.
I guess hypothetically, it would empower the women of the world in particular, because it's like a women's
Right.
product, and she had lots of lines being like, "I'm a woman."
I'm
stuff like
used to
that.
doing stuff that I
I
don't
don't
want to
wanna
do.
do.
Yeah, okay.
It was in that era where, like, oh, well, we have a female protagonist. We gotta have it be a female antagonist because we can't have a woman beating up a man now, can we?
Or vice
Or vice versa,
right?
yeah.
It's probably, as
Yeah.
I say, vice versa.
Vice versa. It would have been, I guess, a more predictable twist, but welcome if Benjamin Bratt was in fact the villain.
If he was the Joker.
Yeah.
If he was the Joker.
If he wasn't just
and Batman somehow.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Benjamin Bratt's Joker would be.
Benjamin Bratman.
Whoa.
Right? It's right there.
oh,
It's
man.
right there. Okay, and then thing the third.
Yeah.
Why did her face start to crack at the end of the fight scene?
Plot. The writer was like, now this happens.
That it was very much that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
One shot she was fine, and the next shot she had cracks on her face.
Right, and she had been using it continuously. There was no need for her face to turn into a reptile.
No.
Well, they never explicitly laid out how any of that worked.
What the timeline was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
they just
how it
conveniently left
works.
it out.
Yeah.
It just was
Okay.
a MacGuffin.
Like
that
how
existed.
much did Sharon Stone really test this? How did she know that? Like, did
she was
have
lacquering
someone,
it
like,
on at that one
yeah,
scene.
Yeah, I know, but did she have someone like beating her with a bat and being like, "I'm invulnerable. I feel nothing. I know
Yeah.
because I've really pushed this to the limits."
Marble stone skin.
Yeah, I don't know if that's as strong as she thinks it is.
No. Isn't
Well, she
marble
didn't
like
seem very
famously
bright.
kind of fragile if
Yeah.
you drop it, I
It's,
guess?
heavy.
precious. It's
Yeah.
heavy, but it chips. and-
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Did anybody else feel bad for Benjamin Bratman at the end when he like definitely compromised his job and his morals
Oh,
and
yeah.
his
She
heart?
dumps him.
And she's like, "Yeah, no."
Pretty fucking funny. But he is an annoying character.
But why though? I mean, he was
He's supposed to be the like good is good and we must all be good and good is the thing that I
Choose-
decide is good. But
Choose
it's
good, kids.
Yeah, choose good. You
I
will
want
be
better
good.
for you.
Don't be bad.
All right, let's go shoot some hoops.
Yeah.
not a terrible quality to have though.
Bonus.
But it's just black and white and like there's no definition to what he's talking about other than the vague him being a cop means that like don't be criminal.
It's good advice.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
I believe her actual breakup note did read just.
What were you gonna say, Daniel?
I was gonna say, name one other character in the movie that has any kind of real depth or definition.
yeah,
that
none of
isn't
them.
Just a straight up archetype.
None
or
of them.
caricature.
Sharon Stone's character is just
Alex Borstein's character.
She's horny.
She had her own
She's
objective
horny and a
arc.
bit of an alcoholic.
Was she?
Yeah, she's every
yeah,
scene
she
she was
had
talking
a-
about
yeah,
how much
yeah,
she
she
wanted to
did.
drink or
Yeah.
guzzling a massive martini or something.
Yeah.
That might have just been her improving.
She's a
Probably.
lush.
She's a lush.
Yeah.
She's a hot lush.
Hot lush.
Whoa. Well, there you have it.
Wow.
Shall we take our first little possible commercial break, and we'll see either in a second or a number of seconds?
Yeah, number
Sure.
of them.
Is it
All
ad
right.
season yet? I
Might
don't know.
be. Oh yeah. We
Okay.
last one. I listened to the same ad 3 times in a row.
Whoa!
Nice.
Enjoy
Enjoy
the
that.
same ad for the first time. All right. Blue.
We're back.
Whoa. Okay.
I didn't mean to lead us in. I was just letting you know that we're back.
No. And what next, Dan? What comes next? If you're so
Oh, what does come next? And the Citizen Kane of the week is.
Yep. I mean, we probably could. No, but come on, Dan.
All right.
Come on,
here we
believe in
go.
yourself. Here it
I
is.
got it. Fuck you. Here we go. All right. And beginning of round 2, production good?
Right on.
Yeah, suck it, Jack.
Fuck, that was pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've only listened to 87 episodes of this 100 times.
I should bring back Produzione. Boy.
I almost did that.
Yeah. So production. This one is an interesting one. Mainly interesting.
Yeah, I would say both movies suffered from critical production errors, and I don't know which one is more egregious. The soundtrack in Catwoman is by far the number one culprit.
Mwah.
I honestly think if they had done a better job with the score of that movie, it would have been like twice as good. Like I think that there was a salvageable film in there just with what they shot and cut together.
For 2004, that's a good soundtrack, I think.
No, it was a terrible soundtrack.
It was a terrible
It was a
soundtrack.
terrible
Absolutely.
soundtrack.
But for 2004, think of the Daredevil soundtrack. Think of the other movies coming.
It's
Spider-Man.
It is music that is representative of the time.
Yeah.
But it is not representative of the movie
What an
we're
awful
watching.
era for music.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Wow.
That like
The
late
early-
90s,
early
early
2000s.
2000s.
Oh,
really
so
just a
bad.
train
They
wreck.
should have got the Elf Man. You know?
The Elf they should have just made it a full Warner Brothers DC co-pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the Elf Man in there.
What is the Elf Man?
Danny the Elf Man.
Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
I'm lost.
Fair enough.
Okay, but this is so that was my issue with
Thank you.
Catwoman was just the terrible fucking like weird Aaliyah-esque R&B that
Right.
seemed to underscore every scene no
Yeah.
matter what it was.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny that I feel like I had issues that were, for me, it was like the editing and the coloring and the
The coloring was
choice of shots.
The editing
and
is
the
atrocious.
CGI. The editing is awful. The fights are
So
yeah, the
bad.
editing was really
Awful.
bad. The rapid cuts of everything it was very unnecessary. I think in the opening shot when what's his face is introducing Line to his boardroom, it cuts to like 6 different angles in like under a minute, all of him doing the same speech. Nothing tells any more of the story. Like there was
Yeah.
no rhyme or reason to the cuts.
no.
So yeah, the cuts, the editing was pretty bad. The CG I wasn't as upset with because like, what are you gonna do?
I kind of think it ruled. Like for the most part, I dug it.
Well, what I will say is, first of all, those sweeping landscape shots that were mainly CGI
Yeah.
did not bother me as much as they bothered you, Jack.
No, because it's
No,
nice CGI.
and
It was, look,
and
that's
they-
not my main problem with it.
their ability to transition from CGI to real life
Flawless.
was
Yeah.
flawless. It was
Yeah.
done really well to the point where like I lost count of how many times you, Jack, were like, oh, that was pretty fucking sick.
Oh yeah, no. Look, again, I'm not going to overly harp on it. There was one time that I definitely laughed at it, but it's true. I wouldn't fight it. It was like generally speaking, pretty well done. I gave props to the whip cut.
The whip cut was
whip cut.
sick. The whip
Whip
cut was
cut
sick.
was great.
Whip cut was
Honestly, good enough
dope.
that they could have done it twice more and I wouldn't have been
Yeah.
bothered.
The cat CG was bad.
The cat
impressively
CG
bad.
was
was-
really bad.
Especially when
was
it when
weird.
it was on her chest, the scale got fucked around with because the camera's moving around it, and so it got like really big at times, and then was small on her chest, and then it zoomed in, and it got really big again before it coughed in her mouth. And then
but overall, I would say like the editing was bad, but there was clearly they were clearly going for a unique kind of look for this movie.
Yep,
that
they
was
were.
that was very dynamic.
Yep.
And like for the most part, the camera work, whether you like the choice of shots or not, it was pretty clean. Like it was a clean movie in a lot of ways. The sound was shit. And the
lighting a lot was pretty rough.
Yeah, a lot of walking. But it seemed like a part of a vision.
and it's also a bit of like the time, right? Like
Sure.
I don't know.
It looks identical to any other similar movie coming out at the time.
Yeah.
Pitoff, I looked up. That's his like nickname. I don't know what his
I'm assuming it wasn't his
Yeah.
birth name.
but he was mostly like a illustrator and like graphic designer for movies before that.
That
the
makes
only
total sense.
other major film he directed was a French film that was like famously the first this genre of film that it was all done in CG.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That
Yeah,
tracks.
a CG kind of.
So
pitch.
he's a computer graphics pioneer, I would say.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
So, I know that I'm kind of taking up this topic,
no.
but I want to finish
take
my
it.
thought. In contrast,
Mm-hmm.
Monsters Ball also had issues with their sound. Their scoring, the levels on their scoring were so bad that it
Yeah,
was
it was an
actually
up and
like
down.
rumbling my speakers at points.
Yeah, I
and-
think you
and-
blew one of your speakers, to
yeah,
be honest.
totally distorted.
Yeah.
But far more egregious than that was the fucking camera work in that movie.
I knew that would piss you off.
Dude, I would say 50% of the shots in that film are out of focus. 50%, like not exaggerating. The amount of times where I was watching it, and like the back wall is sharp and the person is completely blurry.
Do you not think that would be a choice at that point, though?
No, I honestly think it was shoddy camera work. I think they were shooting on film potentially.
Oh, for sure.
And they didn't catch it. And there was some weird camera moves in that film,
No,
like
and-
during that living room scene.
Yeah,
That made it
was
seem
supposed to
like-
be pretty voyeuristic.
And I think those felt more intentional. Where I agree about your focus thing, and even I like. Here's the other thing: like I'm not an expert with film production, but like where I'll say like with Catwoman, if you want to like recognize what bad editing looks like, you have a better chance of seeing it in this movie.
1000%.
Because you're not supposed to see it. That's
In
kinda
Catwoman.
yeah, in Catwoman.
Yeah.
In Monsters Ball, you might catch some of it, and I caught it in the cuts as well, where it would cut to a different angle, and it would not be the same kind of focus. Or like I think I mentioned, like, is this a different camera?
Yeah.
We were watching, and I was like, what's happening? And it didn't feel. In those moments, it didn't feel like this is a choice. In the make me feel good scene,
Yeah.
it's a sexy scene.
Yeah.
That felt like I agree. I think it was supposed to have this
supposed
voyeuristic.
Yeah, like we're looking
loose,
through the window.
handheld.
And we're shit faced with them, so it's
We're-
all just memories that is coming to
Yeah,
us.
we're in the room. That felt like a choice.
I don't know why they made that choice, but
Yeah. Because they were doing weird art stuff. That was the only part of the movie where the cinematography shifted with the bird and the cage shots. Like there was something else going on.
Oh, yeah, the editing for that whole scene was weird, and they like just a lot of unnecessary gratuitous sexuality in that movie, like sitting on Halle Berry for what was it like upwards of a minute for that fucking oral sex scene with her and Billy Bob Thornton.
Right.
Didn't add anything.
There was just like a naked pan shot
Well,
of her.
Yeah. Like there was definitely what's what I'm looking for. They took advantage of the fact that they were able to sexualize.
so
Halle
I
Berry.
disagree with that one.
Okay.
Because that is supposed to be a moment where she has gone through hardship with the person who she had thought she trusted, and now she's having to trust again. She's having to like relax and you know trust this man to make her come or whatever. And it cuts out it.
Okay.
We stay on it with her for a while, but when she's beginning to climax, it cuts to them cuddling afterwards. So we don't actually see kind of like the most vulnerable moment of that act is what I would push back with.
What about the moment
Yeah,
though
I
where
think-
she was just sleeping naked and it pans down across her?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But like Catwoman's ass was in every inch of that.
But that
movie.
entire
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
point of that movie was
When
to
she wasn't
sexualize her.
CGI, we'll get into this. I
Yeah.
feel like Halle Berry was barely in the movie. So,
But I agree. I agree. I concede on that.
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, there's definitely some funny stuff. Yeah, music in both kind of funny. The stuff, the CGI, Catwoman. I mean, the costuming is wacky pataki. That's a weird one to bring up.
Oh, it's rough.
It's rough. Her head looks odd.
Well, and they're really like, I know it's kind of a cliche at this point in a superhero film to like watch how they create the costume and see how that all comes about. I mean, mainly it's a Spider-Man trope, I guess.
Yeah.
But to have zero explanation,
Yeah,
to just cut to a scene where she has it
from her friend for a
but,
fun
but,
night out.
but that's
And
a
then-
different thing. It's
I
a
know,
different costume.
I know.
If she had just worn that with like a masquerade ball mask,
Would have been better,
it would have been better.
as they did in the Christian Bale Batman's.
Oh yeah.
That's literally what she
Yeah,
wears.
that's right. That's right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they really kept it simple.
And the
I mean,
fight
Hitler
straight from
is.
Daredevil.
The fight, the basketball fight.
Basketball fight scene.
Speaking
straight
of
from
like
Daredevil.
fucked up editing and stuff,
Oof.
oh, and just like I consider this in production too because it's like a direction choice. This movie had a bunch of that like. I joke about it, but it's annoying when you see it enough times. The fucking claps for the hero trope
Yeah.
as a directional choice. Like I think there's what's it the everything wrong with YouTube thing? You know, everything wrong with so and so in 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And that guy always points out like, oh, like eat an apple, it'll make you look more like an asshole. Like he's really seen that enough
Right.
times. He's
Right.
like that's just
Yeah.
like now you're just showing
That's a
us-
trope.
It's a trope and you're a bad director.
You got
kind
a
of.
trope.
And that claps for the hero thing gets really annoying after a while. And especially when it's like, they're playing basketball. Oh, the kids love them.
Yeah.
The kids are like, whoa.
And also, like, having cat powers wouldn't make you better at basketball.
Cats are dope at basketball.
Cats
no.
rule a
Did
basketball.
you never
whatever.
see
Have
Air
you ever-
Cat?
Yeah.
Air Puss?
That might be the first thing that I want to cut out of a podcast.
Airpuss.
Air puss. Oh,
You said it.
I just feels gross coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. Great spin-off flick.
Blorf.
That's terrible.
Stars Billy Bob Thornton.
Yep. As Bad Santa.
Yeah, his character adopts a cat.
Yeah.
So,
Billy Bob Thornton.
and we didn't even talk about the fact that they used the same shot twice of
They did.
The Office.
The establishing shot of The Office. They were in the same clothing on 2 separate work days.
Yeah.
So that's a big fuck up.
Clearly they shot it on the same day, and as we noted, like,
Yeah.
the costume people were like,
The
they
other
had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, the racks in Vancouver. We didn't know. Whoops.
Or they just kept shooting and they never told anyone.
Yeah.
And so they never changed it. Like,
Yeah.
our costuming had different costumes on standby, as they probably would. They'd have backup
Yeah.
shit. And then just be like, oh, that was for the next day? You assholes.
Maybe they're just trying to point out that Halle Berry is just poor.
And
Everyone else in the
too.
office. Yeah. Alex
didn't
Borstein was
realize-
wearing the exact same
Yeah, okay,
thing.
that-
And the
that's-
guy leaning
that's
over the
okay.
railing as
Yeah,
the
yeah,
camera
just-
pans up. And the guy with headphones walking confidently along next to
Yeah.
the railing.
Right. Yeah. Well, no one said it was good.
It's pretty,
No.
it's pretty fucking,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
pretty rough.
The one thing I noticed as I take us into overtime in production, I keep wanting to call it Cat in a Hot Tin Roof. God bless you. I don't know why.
It's called Air Puss, Sean.
It's called Airpuss. No, Monsters Ball.
Oh,
Yeah. I think it's because of the southern accents, and then linked with we watched Catwoman.
Right.
But
And you love Tennessee Williams, yes.
yeah, he was doing something with the flags. Lee Daniels was, and I don't know exactly, but there were Confederate flags in the backgrounds of a lot of shots, and then slowly through the film, the Confederate flags, I stopped noticing them, but I did notice the proper Union. Like the American flag we know now popping up. Like there was one part where it was actually in the foreground, out of focus,
Yeah,
and a scene
I
was
remember that.
happening, and there were
because nothing's in focus in this movie.
I think it was when he was painting. or
Yeah.
something. It was like somehow behind him.
So I'm wondering if it was him coding a little his racism is leaving him.
Well, that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That is the journey of the hero in this movie.
I guess I think it's just naive to be like, and then we put it to an normal American flag because the racism's gone.
Yeah,
But that's how it felt. Like I don't like.
Yeah,
That was my
It's an
issue with
this movie.
With my
that I
story in
think
the my issue with the story in the movie is that it was like people can change, sure.
Yeah.
Growing up, spending. How old is Billy Bob Thornton? 50, 60?
in this film?
Yeah.
Oh, 40 something.
Fine.
Yeah.
Spending 40 something years of your life, not only just like having racist values like ingrained in you, but
Yeah.
living with them on a daily basis. It was like a switch was flipped, and
It's like
suddenly
his
he
son
was
killed himself because of hatred in their family.
Sure,
Yeah.
but it just even under those circumstances, it felt too abrupt. It felt too like night and day.
Yeah,
Suddenly he was just like a sweet guy, being like,
Yeah.
"Can I drive you home?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And like we didn't get into that as much with the story about like how the story of this movie has aged.
Yeah.
And I think it's not great. I think it's not bad, but I think it's not great. I think it's like part of that misleading era of what
sure.
quote unquote fixing racism looks like.
It's very the Academy Award winner. We solved racism, and then they give the Oscar to Crash a few years later, which is the exact same. Is Crash Lee Daniels as well? I don't look that up.
Check it, man.
Wow.
But it's like now he's nice to his black neighbors. And it's like, yeah, they're still living like super. Anyway,
I also don't like. Yeah, it's indicative of the time in that like now I don't give a shit about the story of a guy who becomes less racist.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Like that's not a fucking hero to me. That's just like, great, you were a piece of shit and now you're not. Congratulations.
yeah, you don't get claps.
Yeah, and you only got there because because everybody in your fucking life died.
Yeah,
Like fuck off.
yeah, and like people are entitled to kind of like keep hating you for a while, maybe.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you're lucky that like people don't.
Yeah,
Anyways.
yeah, I know what you mean. So that's a tricky part of it. Anyway, so let's carry on. Maybe we'll get back to it in acting. So let's carry on. Do you have the word on that? film?
He did not do Crash, but he did do Phantom of the Opera apparently.
What? The
Yeah.
Gerard Butler one?
Yeah, he's a very eclectic mix of films.
Gerard Butler. I forgot that he played.
Yeah,
fucking
it's
Phantom
worth
of the
getting on the
Opera.
podcast. He's not
Yeah.
good.
Did you watch? You seen it?
I have.
Oh god. Let's get that versus Dracula 2000. It'd have to be 300, wouldn't it? Fuck. All right.
Oh no, he says.
I've just seen it so many times. I want to watch Dracula 2000 is what I want to
I don't
do.
even know if I know what that is. Okay, let's move on to our third official round, which is acting. Good? Is it?
I mean, Halle Berry won the Oscar for Monsters Ball.
Oh yeah.
She did.
There is some fucking incredible stuff that she's doing in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Like I've never really given or like taken time to dive into her catalog, so I'm not too familiar with her. With
Not good.
what's that?
It's not very good, to be honest.
Her catalog of work?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure, that's fair, but like I get it for this movie. There's no
Yeah.
denying how fucking talented she is. I'm not sure if
100%.
she just picks bad roles, but like rarely do I watch a film where I forget that I'm watching an actor on screen, and that's what happened with Halle Berry. Like
Yeah.
I think she was phenomenal, which I find disappointing about the Razzie with Catwoman, because I feel like there are moments where she is still doing some really good work, and the moments where she's not, I feel like that is direction over choice.
For Catwoman,
Yeah.
she's very watchable in Catwoman. She's doing the thing. There's no of all the cringe moments. I don't think any of them were her, other than
There
when
was a
she's doing
couple-
weird cat things.
and like
but
purring and shit.
Yeah,
How
but
do
I
you-
think that I agree that it was a direction thing because
Yeah.
of how like consistent. Like I think she was really sold that this was going to be like a fun thing for kids,
Yeah.
which is weird because of her
Crime and murder?
costume and murder and other things.
She murders like 3 people in this movie.
I don't think she murders anybody.
She murders the Asian dude,
The
the security guard.
I think she just knocks him out.
No, he's straight up dead. His eyes are open. His head is bleeding. He's fucking dead.
I don't know. Maybe
He's
I'm-
dead.
he looked pretty dead.
Yeah, super dead. I guess she didn't murder Sharon Stone. I guess she just allowed her to die.
yes.
Okay, that's fair. So
Yeah,
then,
She
so then
murdered
maybe
herself.
one.
You could kind of argue that the Asian security guy did that as well.
Yeah. He murdered with the impact
Well,
of his
maybe it
own
was
skull.
self-defense. Like, well, she,
You know,
she pulled him through the painting and smashed his face off a concrete wall.
Or did his ego lead to his downfall?
It's for sure that
Definitely.
one.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh man,
So-
I'm getting shut down left and right on this show.
So when Barry won the Razzie, she actually went to the ceremony And I think
Good for her.
I think this is
Yeah.
where this story is where what I confused, thinking that they came out in the same year.
Right.
Because when she went to the ceremony, she brought her Oscar
love
with
it.
her to accept the Razzie.
Funny.
And then just like called the movie a huge sack of shit and was like, "Yeah, I deserve this award," and like and left. And like,
Good
hey,
for
that's
her.
pretty fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
So
So I think she was just trying to play a movie that she thought was going to be made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she was doing her thing as an actor, which is to trust the team and be like, I'm going to do my best, and this is what I think we're making. And CGI is a weird thing to act with, I'm sure. So like, she was like, cool, I'm going to be this like snarky, kind of strange, cat-like ish, but my version of it, not super cat-like. The animal work could be better, but
she was doing it.
she's doing a thing.
Yeah.
It just like didn't make sense. And the thing I was getting to before was also that like half of the shots of her are CGI shots. of
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much to like.
And half of the other half are the stunt person. In,
yeah.
In the
or
leather
CGI.
outfit.
Yeah, exactly. There's just so much.
Yeah, but we're talking about acting right now. We're not talking about stunt work
Yeah.
or choreography.
Oh, yeah.
Like she was never there was never any CGI Catwoman acting in scenes,
No.
performing dialogue.
No, but they still like were part of the whole like performance of it in a weird way. I know it's like production, but anyway.
Like Sharon Stone, who might as well have been a CG.
Ooh.
Yeah, she,
input there.
okay, so
Woof.
so before the movie started, you reminded me that Sharon Stone was in Basic Instinct.
Yes, famously. Yes.
Which is kind of, I guess, her like
Most
one
famous.
big role.
Yeah.
She had a career in the late 90s.
Oh yeah, 80s and 90s.
80s
yeah.
and 90s.
Yeah.
But was that so? You said something along the lines of she lost custody of her kids over that movie.
Something technically, yeah, I think so.
Was that because she showed her vagina in the film?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Some Christian court ruled, along the lines of that it was what's that word?
I can look it up if you want.
It was
Like negligent as a parent or something?
that it like not the kind of person that could be trusted with kids because of that there's certain kinds of words that they use where she was essentially trying to call her a whore, but in legal terms.
Was her current partner, I guess the guy who was fighting for custody of the kids, also a super conservative Christian type, or
no
like?
idea whether that he was or they just abused that in order to like fuck with her. It was pretty messed up from the sense of it.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
this is all
wild.
wrong, and Sean's gonna be like, no, this was made up.
No, it's according to the Guardian. Sharon Stone is the source of the story, but like, yeah, she says that divorce judge asked her young son, "Do you know your mother makes sex movies?" And so she says the judge's prejudice against things she had done in her career made him rule against her.
Yeah.
Is what
That's-
she's claiming.
Well, the legal system strikes again.
Flawless.
Flawless.
Joke, man.
Flawless.
Anyways,
So Sharon Stone, brutal.
brutal.
Yeah.
Definitely
Now-
shouldn't be trusted with kids after this movie. I'll say that. What she did before, but after this, I agree.
But see, here's my thing. Clearly, she has a track record of solid performances as an actor.
Oh yeah.
Clearly, this movie is about over-the-top archetype characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, like, she's doing some fucking awful acting in this film, but I wonder how much
She's
of that.
boring. That's the big crime. She takes a character that could be like
Yeah, I guess that's
wildly
fair.
over the top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She could. There's room for her to cackle in this movie if she wants to, but she doesn't even like break a smile throughout this film.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
That's fair.
At least like her husband
She's
character was
bored.
like trying to be villainous. at
Yeah.
least.
Where is he from?
I know, right?
Because he has one of those faces. I've
Well, I'll
definitely
look him
seen
up on
him.
the break. Or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I recognize him from a certain movie as well. I recognize him sweatily saying something to someone. Alex Borstein, always a delight.
Great.
Honestly,
fun.
Underused.
she's coming yet again, but more used than she was in Dinner for Schmucks,
Yeah.
Yes,
for sure.
for sure.
As just a hot piece of candy.
She needs
in
a
that
needs a
movie.
leading vehicle, man. Like they need to put her to star in her own film. Like she needs a. I know she's in Maisel as
Yeah.
a supporting though.
Oh
But
yeah.
like-
Well,
but
yeah,
she's
but like
but she's huge.
secondary
Is she?
lead at
Okay.
times. Yeah.
She needs
Yeah.
a movie career. I want to see her just like leading some crazy fucking
Catwoman?
comedies. Yeah, Catwoman.
Alex,
but-
Alex
but-
Borstein as Miss Swan is
Is Catwoman.
No, I'm a kid.
I'm a kid.
Yeah.
So good. I still can't believe that was your first time seeing
It was
Miss
my
Swan
first
today.
Miss Swan.
We exposed
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah, we popped Sean's Miss Swan cherry today.
And then
Today
Brett,
Miss Swan, tomorrow AirPods.
Brett Ratner's.
Brett.
Benjamin Bratman.
Benjamin Bratt.
Oh, I don't know his name.
He was charming, and he was doing the thing he does in every movies from
Yeah.
the late 90s and early 2000s. This is where he's handsome.
Yeah, he's good at it.
Yeah.
Charming smile. Good job,
Yeah.
Benjamin
Bratt.
Ratner.
Yeah.
Almost a little
Brett Ratner.
too grounded. I felt like for this film, it was like
Again,
it was like-
boring, right?
not boring. I didn't find that. I thought that it was almost too naturalistic and real for the film he was in. It didn't quite cross the
Right.
line, but it was definitely like flirting with it.
Sure. Yeah.
I like
Skirting the line, is that a word?
Yeah.
I like what he became in that era, where he was like the equivalent of like the hot piece of ass that a woman gets as
Yeah.
a reward. if
Yeah.
they're in a
Yeah.
movie.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
What a feminist place.
You find your fucking niche
You know,
and you
and
work
that's
it.
You're the
Yeah.
hot piece that the woman wins,
Hot
although
piece.
she doesn't because she's such a cat.
Yeah.
Like a cat
Breaks his
hates
heart.
no
I mean,
mate.
I'm sure they were leaving it open for the sequel.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
like a cat
probably.
hates the police.
We should talk about Monsters Ball.
Yeah, Billy Bob also
Oh, yeah.
very good,
Very good.
Very good.
really good.
I just want to I'm tired of seeing him do those kinds of roles. He is like he's like a younger old Clint Eastwood type where like he's always just angry or mean
Yeah.
or racist
Yeah.
or crass, like that is
Yeah.
or psychotic. Like I get working your hit. That's fine.
Yeah, he's never going to be James Bond.
No, but like, I don't know. I guess I just want to see, like, he's good at what he does. Him as James Bond wouldn't be bad, actually.
It'd be
be interesting.
but it'd be like
it,
the
would,
terrible.
it would be bad.
It would be
It'd
horrible.
It'd be the downside. He'd be Jimmy Bond.
Jimmy
Bond.
Jimmy Bond.
My name's Bond. Jimmy Bond.
Give me a Budweiser, shaking. You're done? Airpuss.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I just,
You want something different. You would love to.
and I don't know if it's possible because he also just has that like
Does
air
he do
about
movies
him.
anymore?
I don't know if he does movies. He
Yeah.
was doing Fargo until recently.
Oh, just one season.
This one season.
Yeah.
Oh, is that?
He's
next?
very good in that.
He's very
very
good,
good.
but again, he's a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, he's a killer.
that's like, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I just want some kind of levity or something brighter from him, even
Yeah.
though I don't know that he'd actually be very good
He
at
and
that. or-
Angelina Jolie wore blood necklaces when they were together.
Yeah, so he is that, like, maybe he
He's
just
weird.
is that kind of person.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good in the movie.
Very good. Heath Ledger was good. I mean,
He was up
small-
and coming at that point.
Up
He
and
probably just
coming.
done A Knight's Tale, maybe?
oh yeah, maybe, or
Sometime
just
around
about
then?
to do it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked even smaller part. I really like Mos Def in this movie.
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton's dad is great.
Peter Boyle?
Peter Boyle,
Always good. Yeah,
he
he's
is
good.
He crushes in this.
Yeah.
Oof.
He makes that character feel real and awful.
Yeah.
He just says the words in such a like he says them.
Yeah.
There's no like fluff. It feels very.
And then when he's like, I don't
True.
want it to end this way. And Billy Bob Thornton's like, well,
He's like,
bye.
I think he says me neither.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. And you're like, yep, that's a fitting end for you.
And
You
you're
get to
like,
rot
wait,
in a bed.
Do you mean you don't want your relationship with your dad that way to end that way, or you don't want your life to end the same way as your
Right.
dad?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I don't know which one you mean. Anyway, bye forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a phone. You can call me whenever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woof. That little kid,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Who we learned died. Yeah. Her son.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that was tough to watch. And like,
why was P Diddy in the movie though?
I don't know.
He was pretty good.
It seemed like a bit of a stunt casting. He was pretty good, but like,
But I wish it was just not.
yeah,
P. Diddy.
it could have been, and like,
So as someone who couldn't pull P. Diddy out of prison lineup there in that movie, I was like, oh, he's great. I don't know. I didn't really like. Maybe I should listen to more.
well, I guess
Diddy.
Vote or die, dude.
Yeah.
I guess my issue is more so like the stunt casting quality of it, because there were definitely other like working talented black actors
Sure.
in that time, and instead
Yep.
they went with a music producer who wasn't trying to carve out an acting career, as far as I know.
Yeah.
He did a good job, but I don't know. it felt like it could have gone to someone else who's like trying to make a career for
like
15 years.
like pick up the phone, call 50 Cent.
I think
50
50
Cent
shot
wasn't-
around this time
he
again.
was, I don't think he was doing movies yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, but well, no wonder because he wasn't. They were calling P Diddy,
Right.
taking roles away from good, hardworking actors
Yeah.
and video game creators like 50 Cent.
He did make one video
He
game.
did
That's true.
make a video game.
It's true.
Right.
Blood in the Sand
Yeah.
or whatever.
And then he made. Do you mean Get Rich or Die Trying? That was his movie, his first movie.
I'm talking about the video game.
I think it was also. I think that was also the name of his video game.
I don't
I
know.
didn't
I
play
don't
it.
think it was.
I don't know.
Are we missing anyone?
No, I just want.
Cats. Oh, the cat lady. Kooky cat lady.
I
Oh
hate
yeah,
that
with
cat
her
lady.
with her pushing ledge.
I hate pushing ledge.
That's my pushing ledge.
Pushing
Oh,
leg.
Come up here, look
God.
at this book. See, cats possessed you when you die. No, I got 10 to 1 of my workshops about the female orgasm. I used to be a professor in New York City.
Till they wrongfully terminated me when not giving me tenure.
Yeah, the thing in this, like the Catwoman sub thing about it being sort of like a feminist
Yeah.
symbol
Yeah.
was strange.
Undermined by just showing her tits and ass the whole movie.
Do you think
Yeah.
maybe Pitoff didn't quite
understand a woman's
understand
experience?
what those words were and how
Yeah.
to communicate that in like a visual and storytelling way?
Yeah, it
other than
feels-
just having women say harumph,
Men, huh?
huh, men,
Sure.
huh?
Karumpruff.
Yeah.
I'd like to exploit this like no man's land of the podcast.
Okay.
We kind of to bring up my two favorite moments. One is the jail bars that she sneaks through, where they fully didn't edit out the bar that's bending as she's sliding through them. Super great job,
I
guys.
didn't see that. I
Oh,
actually thought that
it's-
she actually just did that.
It's
for
a
real.
it's a quarter of a second just before they cut to her like slinking out of the bars. But the bar fully like bends around her hips and like so
Oh,
funny.
okay.
Funny.
All right.
The other one was answering the Nokia cell phone, and it's
video
a video
call?
call
It's me.
that she puts to her ear.
I did
And she
notice
also
that.
and Sharon Stone turns to camera.
That's why I wondered if it was like I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be a full video call or just
Like a
some weird
ringtone?
like a weird feature where
Yeah.
it's like your ID is
Right.
a little video that says it's
me."
me and like that's what she chose to do for hers. I know. Also the part where her cat powers made her magic and she like teleports to the next hallway.
Yeah.
Unexplained.
Cat powers defy physics. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they
Cats
do.
are kooky.
Bonus points for at least what 2, 3, 4 cat puns.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A girl like me always lands on her feet. Cat got your tongue.
Except that the very first time she falls after getting cat powers, she lands on her face.
Yeah.
But
When she falls off the
it's
shelf.
it's like hands to face.
yeah.
No, it's her legs are extended behind her. She is full on. She falls.
She's not fully cat.
She's not full cat yet?
woman yet.
She's
She's
only
just
cat
a cat
girl.
girl. Mm,
Cat girl, not,
not
yet,
yet
a
a
cat
cat
woman.
lady.
God.
All right, let's take a little breather for the same ad, and then we will come and finish this out in the proper format for once. Okay, bye. Hey, yo! So let's rate the movies and decide which one is the Citizen Kane of the week. So
Yeah, girl.
I'm going to suggest this time, I think it'll be more interesting if we start at the tail end and begin with acting.
Ooh, okay.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, good. So, for acting, I'm gonna say Monsters Ball.
Yeah, I think it,
Yeah.
I think it has to be Monsters Ball.
That's why I wanted to start here.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it feels
Get it out of the
It's a
way.
throwaway.
It's an easy one.
easy one. The other ones probably will still. Well, fuck, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so then let's just carry on and not make this any longer than it has to be. But
Yeah.
a production.
Honestly, man, I have to go with Catwoman. Because like bad choices, I think, are still more forgivable than actual shoddy work, and the amount of focus issues and weird like roaming camera stuff that was happening in Monsters Ball, I couldn't get past it. I found it so distracting.
Yeah.
I thought it looked amateurish, which was weird because clearly it's not it's a big budget Hollywood film with some A-list actors, but the camera stuff was unforgivable. For
I think the thing that I would like, I have some feelings that are similar to yours, but I would kind of disagree. Like the amateurish thing it wasn't so much of a factor to me. Like I didn't always mind how it was being shot, even though I could sense some of those things as well. Somehow it also gave me, whether they meant to do it or not, is definitely a conversation worth having. But I don't know, sometimes I feel like it made it feel more like this less polished, more home video voyeuristic sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it was a choice.
There's a difference between a voyeuristic approach, which
Yeah.
is definitely one thing, and feeling like a home video. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just saying it just felt somehow more like down to earth and less like, I kind of didn't mind that it didn't have a sheen on it. That being said, it's not the point I want to make.
Right.
The point I want to make is that it was not the production of this movie that like made this movie.
Monsters
No.
Ball.
Judging, and I think that's all the more evident by how we're like, even I think Sean too, are being like, yeah, there was some weird stuff in it, but I kind of dug it because it wasn't really what I was watching it for.
Okay.
Whereas like, take it or leave it, how you feel about the
Yeah.
like CGI and the shit that's happening in Catwoman, it is a sight to behold.
Sure.
Her
There is a
animated-
lot of production.
Yeah, her jumping around all animated and the weird transitions and the stuff.
Oh,
There's just more there.
Yeah.
And not just like in a quantitative way, but
Uh.
like it's I think I'm into Catwoman. I think I'm saying Catwoman.
I'm
Sick.
the other way around. I just because like as much as what got distracted you in Monsters Balls,
Oh, the editing.
the editing of Catwoman it made me physically ill at times.
And the fighting and
Fighting is awful.
So it was so unwatchable.
And it's glaring. The problems are glaring. And one thing I didn't bring up about Monsters Ball, I might have briefly touched on it, was the sense of heat. And that movie was just dripping in sweat.
Oh, it was hot in here. You're just thinking it was just hot.
I
I
guess.
think you were having hot flashes in my apartment.
I actually, you know what? This
think
is
so.
gonna. I'm totally gonna flip out right now, and I'm specifically remembering the fight in Catwoman in the alleyway with henchmen, and how that was just the worst. That was just the worst.
Is that the one where she runs through the yellow room and the lights are all yellow?
No, it's the one where she
No?
goes to she follows him into the club and then does a whip dance
Oh,
for him, and all of that's awful.
Yeah, that was
And then
weird.
she tackles him, and apparently right behind him
Is a door?
Was
Is
the
an
door
exit
to the
door?
alley, followed by the worst fight I think I've ever seen on film. Truly, I don't.
Yeah,
know
it
I've
was
seen
bad. It was
So,
bad.
Just for
Yeah, but
so fuck you,
m-
Catwoman.
me? Oh, Catwoman.
No, Dan, no, dude. Come
Okay,
on.
you looked right at me when you said, so fuck you.
No, I wasn't saying it to you though.
Daniel, fuck you.
But I mean, yes, there's no that I agree with you, but I think that a couple of isolated fight scenes aren't the same as a consistent flaw.
Like consistent editing.
The editing through the whole there were chunks that were bad, like the fight scenes. Like there were chunks where the editing was rough, but the shoddy camera work was the entire film, start to finish.
I didn't
I would
notice
say at least once or twice per scene it happened, and it wasn't like, oh, there's a momentary moment. There's
A momentary moment.
shut up where focus
Fuck you.
is momentarily out while the guy finds it.
You're right.
It's like we're watching an entire chunk of the scene out of focus. That to me is like it shouldn't happen in a movie.
I'll take it.
Clearly.
Monsters Ball.
Oh yeah, Monsters Ball. Okay. All right.
Story.
Catwoman.
Oh.
I've already said all the things that I don't like about the story of Monsters Ball.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
tricky.
Like fuck that story. But that's all there is to it. Like
But script better.
Script
is better.
Mm,
Script is
Script way better.
way better, but
yeah.
story
The dialogue is better. The
Direction is better.
that different. That production.
yeah, not same.
Not same, Sean.
Not same
Fuck
as story.
you, Dan.
Direction is about the telling the story.
But
guess
it's not. I usually think of it as like the actual story and
Like
writing.
what's in the script. Yeah, I thought that it did kind of meander past like the halfway point, but also the story in general is not one that I fucking care about at all. It's not, to me, it's not a story worth telling. Honestly,
Wait, what isn't worth telling about that story?
I don't give a shit about an antagonist whose entire journey is becoming less fucking racist. That's not it's
Sure. I mean, they made that argument when 3 Billboards came out too. There was a lot of like, why are we watching this movie? It's
I forget a lot of that
movie.
movie. I remember enjoying it. I remember it being quite layered. This one doesn't have a lot of there are layers to the story, I guess, but it is one central. There are no side plots. There is one story to this movie, and it's
both of their stories.
kind of. But Billy Bob Thornton is the hero of the film, right?
It's definitely more his story.
It's more his. We get
and
it
she
more,
is a device in his story.
But it is
I would
two
agree.
people trying to heal.
Yeah. Yes. I liked this movie. I liked watching it. I wouldn't totally throw out the content of it. I'd be like, there's something here. There is something about the storytelling of it that is a bit... there's something about it. There's something tropey about it. The fact that it starts with this like almost like save the cat moment, and then as you say, it just kind of turns. I didn't understand why he quit his job. I mean, I guess it was because of his son, but like I know it's because of that, but I didn't
go back.
But like it wasn't in that wasn't in the movie. And I don't know.
That's what it was. Like if the movie is about him, like I feel like we missed the part of the movie where we actually see him like struggle to deal with the loss of his son, aside from just making these like life changes.
Like he didn't seem bothered by the fact that he was like having sex with a black woman.
No.
Which I thought was gonna be kind of a point of it that.
Well, because it's not his racism is the learned racism. It is not the active racism. It's the reflexive racism because you've been raised by a hateful bigot. It is just what you do because it makes him happy, and it's him realizing that him inflicting that upon his own son, and that's all when he's sitting on the like ferry day after day after day. Like going, I guess because he's on that ferry multiple days, I think,
hard to
or something,
tell.
or like for hours he's just going back and forth or something.
Oh, and I guess it's the idea that after like following the trains of, as you put it, like slave labor force, he decides that he doesn't want to be a part of that system, so he's quits his job.
There's a reason why the director made him sit in a car while he's watching them go back and forth, marching to do menial labor for free. Like it's not, he's not, we don't see him go, I better not be a racist anymore, but we do see him like make choices.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm saying is we didn't see like what seemed to be I don't need to see that beard stroking moment, but I didn't see the conflict within him moment. I didn't see them like there was just the moment where he almost drives away in the car. Like that was it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty understated. And then I agree with you, Dan. It feels like this kind of light switch moment. That somehow there's never a point where when he's with Halle Berry that like something slips up in him, or it
feels too easy.
It didn't feel. It did something about it doesn't feel quite right. And as a result doesn't feel real.
Yeah, it is easy.
It's easy.
Yeah.
And like sometimes maybe that happens in life. A big thing happens and you just like. It does feel like a light switch, and you just go, epiphany is a thing.
Shit,
yeah, and you go, I just can't ever do that again because I know it only brings pain. So I'm just gonna, no matter what choice I make, it won't be that.
And he is upset that he was such a shit father that like he still hated his son. Like he hated him. He didn't give a shit that he died, but he's upset that he was a bad father and that allowed him to kill himself. You know.
Well, as you say, like he's learning to feel love for the first time.
Yeah.
This whole conversation feels a bit like a point to Monsters Ball. The fact that there is like something worth dissecting, whereas Catwoman just stole the first Batman movie and not well.
It's a romp. Catwoman's a romp. I'll watch Catwoman again for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I honestly like have no problem saying that I had a way better time watching Catwoman than Monsters Ball. Monsters Ball, like. As a film, it is a better made film. No, there's no question. But if we're talking about which one was a better movie and what was a more positive experience, I had a way better time in
Sure.
Catwoman.
Yeah.
As a film, but as a movie.
They're different. They're different
I know,
things.
I know. I don't know what you mean. It's just
What
funny
about
to
as a
point
piece
out,
of
but-
cinema?
Yeah, what about as a piece of cinema?
Monsters Ball.
Oh,
What about like as a moving picture?
Moving picture.
talkie.
Probably Catwoman.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Talkie goes to
I'm
Airpuss.
Monsters Ball. You're Catwoman.
I'm Catwoman.
Kingmaker Jack.
Fuck. No, it's got to be Monsters Ball. Yeah, it like I think it has flaws, and I think it's not it's pot perfect, but it's I don't know. I still think it's doing something much more nuanced and interesting, and holds up in a really interesting way. Like this feels different to movies in a way that I really like.
That script doesn't get made today, though. You were like
That's what I'm
discussing
saying.
earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll that,
And why doesn't it get made today?
no, but not what the content is, but
It's
how
100%.
done. No, but how it's done.
I think the content is also a huge fucking part of it. Like, what do you mean? Not the context, but how it's done. What is it? What is problematic about how it's done versus what the content of the movie is?
Nothing's problematic in how it's done. I say this, the thing that I agree there's problematic stuff in there is the context of this movie and what the story is and how racism is treated is, a bit dated compared to how we think and talk about racism now. But like, not in a way that's like super offensive, to be honest. It's just a bit like naive, I think, is how I feel about it now. It feels like a naive view of racism, which
Sure.
I guess that's still pretty bad.
It's like a hand-holdy exploration of racism.
Yeah, but in
A little
terms of,
bit.
but I'm talking more about
Where
like
like a racist asshole is like kind of let off the hook in a certain way.
Like what? Like is society gonna all band together in Georgia and
where it's like he gets to have sex with Halle Berry.
Well,
Yeah.
but-
It's actually the
but-
part that feels a bit.
yeah.
But there is that
yeah.
there is the part of it where like by the end of it you're supposed to kind of be on side with this guy who's like a shit person and hasn't done much besides fucking buy a fucking gas station and save a kid from the side of the road. Like he doesn't earn the spot of being the hero of the story.
He is changing. He's bringing work to his neighbor who until then he was chasing his kids off with a shotgun, and now he's bringing work to his neighbor, trying to help him in that way. He is pushing out the bigots in his life. He's making active choices, and I don't think at the end we're supposed to be like, "Yay,
swell
Billy
dude."
Bob Thornton." I think we're
Yeah.
supposed to be like, "Okay, he's
Those are the first steps.
changing."
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. It's the beginning of something. Look, the point is, I'm saying Monsters fucking Ball. So, the Citizen Kane of the week is drumroll insert.
Drum roll, 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 drum roll.
Fucking Monsters Ball. That's the sound of the scene. Yeah. Okay, so let's really quick. Citizen Kane. Let's versus the loser and talk really quickly about Catwoman. What does this movie need to be better?
Oh God,
Not Sharon Stone.
Not Sharon Stone.
An original movie, like premise for the bad part of it.
I actually don't. I don't even mind that. I would say I would leave most parts of this movie. I would change the soundtrack.
Okay.
And I would definitely change Sharon Stone to. So I guess we need to recast Sharon Stone to be like a more like maniacal
Timothée
person. Chalamet, maybe a little too young. Definitely the right amount of woman, but too young.
Yeah.
Alex Borstein,
Ooh, you know what?
like not bad, right?
That would be fucking wicked to have her play a villain role in a.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, if it was Alex Borstein and you like adore her until the turn happens.
Yeah.
Oh. Amazing.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's
And
nice.
it's
So we take Sharon Stone's
and it's like
character
unassuming
entirely,
Alex Borstein. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
and Alex Borstein is the character she plays, and also plot twist, she's the villain.
Yeah.
However, you manage to fit that into the story.
Well, she can even be the co-owner of the beauty line company.
She can be a lab tech who'd find it is
Yeah.
actually way more secretly at the top than you realize.
I like that.
Something, who knows, and turns out she's actually Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that. A different director.
Way different director.
Just maybe Brett Ratner, maybe.
Who's Brett Ratner?
What did he do? Did he do it bad?
He did a lot of bad.
Oh, never mind. No,
Yeah.
Who's Brett Ratner?
He directed the X-Men's. Oh no, was that him? Shit.
No, that was not Zack Snyder. It's fucking who did?
probably maybe Brett Ratner.
I think it was Zack Snyder did a couple of them.
No,
Brett Ratner.
No.
no.
American film director.
Who-
He the X-Men Last Stand is the one he
Ooh,
did.
nice.
But
That's the one
Yeah, he
everyone
did.
loves,
He
right?
did some touching.
Yeah.
He did some bad touch stuff.
Of like
I'm pretty
kids?
sure. I don't know. He's
Maybe,
just a
but
bad touch guy.
2004 Brett.
Yeah. Brett, yeah.
No, but this like any different director probably would be good. Maybe
But the director is what made the movie so fun. I would get a different editor, I guess, and just rein the
Yeah.
director in a little bit in terms of like helping with the edit.
Whole new
maybe.
stunt. The stunt team wasn't the problem. It was.
No, it was.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it was.
Oh,
No,
yeah, I
an
guess so,
actual
yeah.
stunt team would be great. People who know what they're doing, and like to the point where like I noted during, I was like, there are a lot of shots in the fights that I was like, you could have just done that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have, if you were even slightly creative as a director, you could have gotten that shot.
Yeah.
Or something like it in a fun way, but instead you CGI'd her jumping and turning to face us
Ugh.
off of a guy. She like slid on a guy and then jumped off him and turning and then landed.
right.
And I was like,
Yeah.
you can get that shot. That's not impossible.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what
People can jump and turn. It's actually like a whole thing that humans
but can
do.
Halle Berry do it?
That doesn't actually matter. Like
That's true. That's dead people for that.
they're wearing a mask.
Also true.
So make the fights decent. That's an easy one.
No basketball fight. Or-
No basketball
no basketball
scene.
scene.
And no
yeah.
fucking claps for the hero bullshit.
Yeah.
Take that out. No, the office does not clap when she quits.
Or if
I
if we're keeping the basketball scene, there has to be a tag at the end where the teacher comes back and is like, "Who are you? Who let you into my classroom?" And he's actually just kind of like broken into a nearby school to talk about how good
Why
you
are
can
you
be.
on top
That's
of him?
pretty funny. I was gonna say also, if we keep the clapping at the end of the office scene, the boss needs to come back, like you pointed out, and be like, "I can hear
Yeah.
all of you. You're all fired."
all
if
fired.
it could be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
humor. Humor
Alex
would be
Borstein-
nice.
So like make this funny. Like commit to it being a good cartoon.
If you're gonna have your protagonist go,
Because I don't want
gotta
to
be
serious.
funny.
I want to see
Yeah.
the quirky Catwoman movie. I
Well, see,
agree.
this is the thing. I kind of thought at the top of the film that they were almost leaning into like a soft parody of
Yeah.
the superhero
Yeah.
genre with all that fucking ancient Egypt clip stuff happening to us.
Yeah.
Witches and like
Witches.
It seemed too absurd to be in earnest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, if they had leaned into that more to make it just like an over the top live action cartoon.
Hey, you fucking called it though when the cat walked in.
Yeah.
You were like,
Remember who you are.
believe in yourself. Or no, you said remember who you are, and then straight up the cat goes, you have to remember who you are. And I was like, fuck, that is the same thing, man. That is on the cat. You are the Catwoman. Remember who you are. Also, just scratch me right behind my. No, stop. Yeah, it could be way more quirky.
Yeah.
But it has to be actually funny. You can't just make it like quirky and stupid.
Which is possible. I mean, we've seen that like superhero movies can definitely have a comedic through line.
yep.
Yeah.
Not comedic through line, but comedy throughout.
I don't know. This movie was really bad.
But
There were like multiple pivotal scenes that were just about her like jumping the fence to
Yeah.
the lady's mansion.
But you know what, man? It is
Terrible.
It is actually it's rarer than I thought it would be that we get
Yeah.
a movie on here that's so bad it is so good.
Yeah.
Like
not quite that
I had
funny,
a
but-
fucking blast watching that
okay,
movie.
good.
Like just
Pretty funny.
just fucking
You were
howling
kind
with
of
the
high,
screen.
right?
Not like a little bit, but like it does cross over into that territory every now and then.
Right.
You're like,
Well, good. Well, I just do those 17 things, and we fixed it.
got a new movie.
Essentially, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
There's a version of Halle Berry doing Catwoman in a cheesy way that's fun.
Mhm.
Uh,
And that would have been a good thing for her career around then, because she was getting a lot of shit for like asking for a bigger role for Storm in the X-Men franchise.
right.
And then like in typical like Hollywood tabloid fashion, everyone was like, "How dare she ask for more in the movie she's
Did the
cast
first
in?"
X-Men come out before Catwoman?
Oh yeah,
It did, right?
yeah, Yeah,
Oh, right.
5 years before.
Oh, so
or
she
something
already
like that.
had a superhero vehicle, kind of.
Yeah.
And they were like, but James Marsden.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get in the way of superstar Famke Janssen?
No, I don't.
Famke Janssen.
Famke
Exactly.
Janssen. Yeah,
Who does she play in X-Men?
she's Jean Grey.
Is she Jean Grey?
Yeah, she's Jean Grey, bro.
I only saw her.
We got another fam paneer over here.
Fan.
A fan. Right, Dan?
What movies are we doing next?
Oh, next movies, we are gonna get into some seminal work of Japanese cinema with Akira
Kurosawa, yeah.
Kurosawa. No, I hinted his full name.
Yeah.
Kurosawa. Akira Kurosawa.
His full name was Akira Kurosawa.
I think so.
John,
We're gonna sound like fucking morons if it's not.
yeah, we really should have
Fuck, maybe
prepared
it's
this
not
at all.
Akira. But Kurosawa's Seven Samurai versus Ninja Assassin. A movie I saw in theaters.
Is it Akira, Sean?
Okay, fucking good.
Nice.
Ooh. I was like pretty sure.
Yeah.
But when I was saying it, I was like, really? Akira Kurosawa?
Yeah.
Akira.
It's a bold choice.
Kurosawa.
I have a cousin whose name is David Davidson.
Yeah, sure.
So he's,
Oh God, really?
yeah,
What? Okay.
Chris Christopherson.
Different.
You got the officer.
Yeah,
At the
it's
end,
a
it's a bit
different.
more.
It changes the word.
But it's the
entirely.
same idea as Akira Kurosawa.
It's like John Johnson.
Yeah, bad, I know.
Did you say bad?
Yeah. Bad.
I know it's bad.
Okay. Podcast over. Japanese ninjas versus samurais next week, I guess, or whatever. Any last thoughts? Bye.
Do we go out on cats?
Meow. 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 Remember who you are. Witches.